Hi everyone, I'm back, Joe here. I just taught you how to make clear ice cubes, so now I'm here to teach you how to make a cocktail for those ice cubes. They're not really cubes, are they? They're more like lumps, clear ice lumps. Yeah. So what I'm going to teach you how to make is an old-fashioned, and I'm going to teach you how to make two different versions of it. One version is the traditional version, the right way to do it, and then the other way is the way that I make for my wife, which I think is the wrong way to do it. She likes it better, so that's why I make it. I sort of invented it for her because I was kind of learning at the time, and it turned out pretty good. So it's not necessarily wrong, it's just not the way, the traditional way you do it. So I'm deciding to teach you how to make an old-fashioned so that you could probably use your ice lumps with. So what are you going to need? Now, for the actual cocktail itself, you're going to need a good bourbon. You're going to need some bitters. You're going to need soda water, an orange, and sugar cubes. Now, the reason why I like the old-fashioned is because it's my favorite cocktail. It just tastes the best for me. But it is also very easy to make. These things are things that anybody can get. And it's not, you don't need a lot of stuff for it. Now, for example, a whiskey sour, you're going to need a lot of weird ingredients, including egg whites, and I don't want to make egg whites. Other cocktails would need either dry vermouth or sweet vermouth. There's grenadine, and there's all these kinds of things that you can absolutely get, probably easy to find, but now we're getting a little bit more involved with other ingredients and other stuff, and really the old-fashioned is super simple. All you need is bitters, an orange, and sugar, along with your whiskey and soda water. So that makes it easy for me because it's stuff that we already have. And plus, if you like bitters, or if you think that you're not going to use bitters, try putting bitters in a glass of soda. Get one of those glass bottles of Coke, put it in ice, a couple of dashes of bitters, and it tastes great. It's a nice little non-alcoholic version of a good soda pop. So there you go. So now, how are we going to do this? Let's get started. The old-fashioned. So what you're going to need is a single sugar cube. There you go. Now if you don't have sugar cubes, you can just use sugar. Just a dash of sugar, a little bit of sugar, whatever a sugar cube would be. And then you're going to take, I have two different kinds of bitters. You only need one, but I happen to have both regular Angostura bitters and orange bitters. So I'm going to use them both, but you don't need both. So then you add 4 dashes of Angostura bitters. 2, 3, 4. Okay. And 2 dashes of orange bitters. Okay. And there you have it. And regular regular soda water I don't have. I have LaCroix. It's very flavorless. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that, just a tiny bit. You don't need a lot of that. So there you go. I'm going to pull this off for a reason here for a second. And now you're just going to muddle it. And you're going to muddle this until you create a nice paste. So there you go. Nice little concoction there. And now you're going to add my ice. Here you have my original ice. There, nice and clear. Then 2 ounces of good bourbon. There you go. And now you're going to want to dilute that a tiny little bit. Chill it also. So you're going to stir it 20 times. 20. You don't do that if you're making these for other people because, licking the spoon and putting it on never mind. Don't lick the spoon if you're helping other people. So Then you're going to take an orange peeler and an orange and just peel the surface of this orange. And you're just going to get like a nice thin little layer. Now the reason why you want that is because you're looking for orange zest, just a little spritz of orange, which you get when you squeeze the orange peel. You just squeeze it, and then you run it along the rim, pop that in to your cocktail, and there you have it, an old-fashioned. And that is very delicious. It's got that orange to it, it's sweet, and it's loaded with bourbon. Oh, it's very good. I love that. And like I said, it's my favorite cocktail. It's sweet, it's orangey, and I love bourbon. Okay, so now that's my second drink in not very long, so it's getting fun. Then I'm going to teach you how to make my wife's favorite cocktail. It is a different version of an old-fashioned. This one is called the Angel's Portion. It goes back to whiskey making. When distillers make whiskey, they put them in barrels and they age them, and they lose some of that whiskey. It gets absorbed into the wood, or it evaporates, and so you have a tiny little bit less bourbon or whiskey than when you started. And whiskey makers call that the Angel's Share. And then Jim Beam made a version of a bourbon where they actually, I think they claim they extracted that bourbon from the barrels. And so then when you tasted it, it was really oaky, super oaky. They took it out of the barrel and they called that the Devil's Cut. So Angel's Share, Devil's Cut, this is the Angel's Portion, simply because they call my wife Angel. There you go. Anyway, so now I'm going to teach you how to make that. Now before, I started by mixing the cocktail in the glass itself. I'm going to use a shaker or a mixing glass, whatever you want, but it's going to start here, okay? And instead of using 1 cube of sugar, I'm going to use 2 for this one. All right. Angostura bitters, just like before. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whereas before we used 4 of these and 2 of the orange, I'm using 6 for this cocktail. Okay, and I'm going to take my muddler again, and there you go. And for whatever reason, I've decided to add the bourbon now, while it's in the glass, while it's in the mixing glass, in the mixer, and I actually use it to pour the remaining stuff that's stuck on the muddler off. So there you go. And I take my mixing spoon and I mix that, trying to get those granules to disintegrate. Again, don't do that if you're making these for other people. Okay, and now that's when you bring out your glass. You take your clear ice, you pop it in, pop on the filter, give it a couple more stirs, and then you pour it over the top of the ice. At this point, it's all the same now. There you go. Take your mixing spoon back and you mix that 20 times. 3, 4, 5, 19, 20. Okay. The third time. Again. Get that orange zest out. Okay, get it over the cocktail, rub it on the brim, and pop it in. Now here's the thing. That's more or less the same with very little different than the original one that I made before. It is somewhat different. It's one more sugar. It's mixed in a different surface and in a different vessel, and then poured in another glass. But what my wife likes to do, and this is part of it, she likes to taste it. That way she respects the actual cocktail that I made. And then she adds soda water. That wasn't very much, but she keeps adding it as we go along, as she starts to drink it, as she continues to drink it. Now, that seems like that's diluting the cocktail, but honestly, soda water was big in cocktails long ago. In fact, there was an episode of Mad Men, I think it was in the 3rd season, where Don Draper makes an old-fashioned, and it is bananas. He starts with the glass, and he adds the sugar and the cherry in. Then he fills a mixing glass full of ice. He pours the bourbon in that ice. Then he pours the soda water, like a lot of soda water, into that glass. Then he takes a muddler and he muddles the cherry and the sugar in the glass. And then he takes a mixing spoon and he just chug mixes the soda water, the bourbon, and the ice. He just chug. And then he pours with the ice all the contents into 2 different glasses. And boy, that is a diluted drink. And he doesn't use the orange zest. He just puts 2 orange wheels on top. And that is seen as a good cocktail. Not by me, though. Nope, that is very diluted. That is too much soda water. But, alas, my wife does it, and I can't argue with her. I mean, if that's what she likes, then that's what she likes. Oh, boy. Now I'm 1 glass of whiskey in. Now I'm starting on my 2nd, this time an old-fashioned. And now I have this one that I don't know what I'm going to do with. So, wonder what's going to happen to that one. So there you go. That's your old-fashioned and the Angel's portion. Decide which one you like. If you want to have a nice cocktail, but they're too strong for you, especially bourbon cocktails. Bourbon cocktails, whiskey cocktails, they're very strong because whiskey tastes so good. It's all about the taste of the bourbon. You have to taste it, and whether it's a Manhattan, an old-fashioned, a whiskey sour, you want to taste that whiskey. And a lot of people want that, but it's too strong for them. So this is like a good option because it's already got citrus in it. And I only had the lime LaCroix today, or the Kirkland brand LaCroix. So my wife usually uses tangerine LaCroix. So that's what she uses, and she seems to really, really like those. Excuse me. Anyway, what was I talking about? I don't remember. Clear ice. Yeah, so that's how you make clear ice. Now I talked about that. Whiskey, bourbon. Oh, right. So there's Irish bourbon. No, there's Irish whiskey. And there's Tennessee bourbon. No, there's Kentucky bourbon. But actually you can call any bourbon made in the United States. I'll figure it out. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.